Hi guys, welcome to my channel. I'm going to be giving you all the details on how I do my meal planning. I know meal planning can feel really overwhelming, which is probably why this has been one of my most requested videos. I don't know why it's taken me so long to do this, but I'm here today to show you all the details of how I meal plan. I'm going to show you how I do my weekly meal planning and also how I do my monthly meal planning. So if you are ready to start saving time and money with meal planning, then stick around. Hey guys, I'm Kristin. Welcome back to my channel. I want to share with you all the details on my meal planning process. This is a really fun collab today with some of my friends from Instagram. You might have heard of them before, the Budget Guys. Camilo and Justin are actually one of the first accounts I found when I started getting involved with the debt-free community over on Instagram. I'm so excited that they agreed to collab with me on this video because meal planning is something that they take very seriously as well. We all believe that you can save a lot of time and money that you can use to either save for an emergency fund, put towards debt, or put towards any other financial goals that you have. So this is a really fun collab. Instead of us doing the exact same video, we decided to do things a little bit differently. So I am going to walk you through my entire meal planning process in detail here in my video, and then when you finish watching this video, go ahead over to the Budget Guys channel, and they are going to give you a bunch of tips to actually save money while you're doing your grocery shopping. So it's kind of a two-part collab. They're going to help you save money, and I'm going to help you lay out the entire process so that you can be efficient and not just save money, but also save time when meal planning. So don't forget to go check out the Budget Guys channel. I'm going to leave the link for their video down below, and please go check theirs out when you're finished watching my video. If you haven't already subscribed to their channel, please subscribe and let them know I sent you. And if you're here visiting me from the Budget Guys channel, welcome. My name is Kristin. I am a blogger. I blog at senseandpurpose.com, and really my mission is to help empower people to take back control of their finances by budgeting, saving money, getting out of debt, and just learning how to budget your best life. I make videos on frugal living, saving money, paying off debt, and all sorts of other fun things. I hope you'll subscribe and join my family here on YouTube. Okay, so let's get into the meal planning. I keep things pretty simple because I don't believe that you need some fancy supplies to be able to meal plan. It's pretty basic. I have these two folders that are stuffed with recipes that we have tried and we've liked. And every time we try a recipe, I just print it offline and shove it in these folders. If we don't like it, I'll just toss it. I also use this book. This was just a book I actually won at a church event a couple years ago, and it's very simple. It's a plain, empty notebook, as you can see. I just mark lines on it, and I'm going to show you this weekly meal planning process because I think it's the best place to start, but I'm also going to touch on how I meal plan monthly because I have been meal planning monthly for months and months now. And I also want to let you know, if you watch this video and you watch Justin and Camilo's video and you're still feeling super overwhelmed and you don't know where to start, I actually offer a free monthly meal plan on my website. I'm going to leave the link down below where you can sign up for my newsletter, and it will be sent to you each month before the month begins so that you can do your own meal planning. Now, it's very basic. It's nothing fancy. It's actually our personal family meal plan that I just put on the computer and share with you guys. Hopefully it'll help somebody that is really struggling with where to get started. So you can check that out as well. A couple other things you're gonna wanna grab is just a piece of paper and a couple of pens and a notebook. So like I said, I have my notebook. You can use any notebook. It doesn't have to be anything special. Any type of notebook will work, and let's get started. Now, the first thing I wanna talk about is taking inventory. This is a very important first step of meal planning, and I didn't used to do this. And what happened was I would go to the store and I'd grab all the things that I thought I needed for the meals, and I'd get home and I would realize that I had half of the stuff here. So I really ended up spending a lot more of my budget on things that I didn't need to purchase because I already had them here. So the very best way to start is to take inventory. And what I used to do is I had a small whiteboard that I kept in my pantry. It's not there anymore because we just recently turned it into a laundry room, but I had a small whiteboard hanging there, and anytime we would add or take something out of our chest freezer that we keep in the basement, I would either add it to the whiteboard or erase it. That way, instead of having to go down each week and go through my freezer and see everything that was in there, I was able to quickly look and see what I had on hand. Now, I don't keep a running inventory of everything in my cabinets and pantry because I feel like that would just be too much work to maintain. But if you have a chest freezer or any kind of spare freezer that you use and you really stock up for meal planning, or maybe you stock up when there's a meat sale or you buy extras each week, I suggest grabbing a whiteboard or just a simple piece of paper, and you can hang this on your fridge, you can just hang this on a bulletin board, or even keep it in your notebook, but it's a lot easier. So if you go and pull some meat out of your freezer for dinner that week, just go ahead and cross it off or erase it off your list. So here's a quick example of just keeping a freezer inventory. It can be very simple, but here I just have 3 loaves of bread, 2 packs of sausage, 1 pack of chicken thighs, 1 ham steak, and 3 packs of hot dogs. So this way I can easily keep this with me when I'm meal planning and I see what I already have on hand. That's a good way to help you stick to your budget so you don't go out and purchase a ton of meat that you might have already had here. What this is going to do is allow you to really shop your freezer when creating your meals and make meals out of this stuff first, and that way when you're going shopping, you can actually save your budget to purchase whatever meat is on good sale that week, and then that can go down in your freezer and be saved for the next week or the next month. That way you're not stuck purchasing whatever you need that week regardless of the price. Now, I hope this makes sense. Give this video a like if you're struggling with meal planning, and definitely let me know in the comments what your biggest struggle is. And if I have a lot of questions or common struggles, then maybe I can expand upon those in another video for you. The first step here is I get my book out and I make a whole bunch of lines on the left-hand page. This is where I'm going to put my actual meal plan. And I just separate it by day, so I have all the days of the week going down here. And this side of the page I just mark as a shopping list. We do the majority of our shopping at Aldi, and I also leave a little spot down here for Sam's Club because I do pick up a couple things at Sam's Club, usually every week or every other week. So I'll keep a list there. Now when I go to the store, I just close this book up, throw it in my bag, and bring it with me. That way I have everything I need. I'm a big believer in making meal planning very simple. Like I said, if it's not simple, if it's not easy, it's unlikely that you're going to stick to it. And I think meal planning is a skill and a habit that you learn and get better at over time. Therefore, the more you meal plan, the more you stick to it, the better you're going to get, the more efficient you're going to become, the more time and money you will end up saving over time as you get better and better. So some of the ways I make meal planning simple is I put a pizza night in every single week. We get one of the large refrigerated pizzas at Aldi every single week. They're $5.99 in our area. My husband and my kids love them. And it's a nice break. We save it for a day of the week that we're busy, and maybe I didn't get a chance to throw something together for dinner, or maybe there's just no time. So it's something that they look forward to each week. So I always put a pizza night in. I usually put it in the day that I know we're the busiest, but I want to make a quick note about the meals that you schedule. I think sometimes people shy away from meal planning because they feel like it's restrictive in some way, and I disagree. I feel like planning these meals ahead of time, this is kind of a guideline for you for the week. This is not a rigid plan that you absolutely must stick to. It's to save time of you looking in the fridge, looking in the cabinet, trying to decide what to make, having to run to the store because you don't have the ingredients you need. But just because I mark pizza night on Friday does not mean we have to have pizza on Friday. So if Friday we end up having last minute plans and going out to eat, maybe we'll have pizza on Saturday. If the whole weekend I'm not doing anything and I have plenty of time to cook, maybe we'll have pizza on a night that we have practice and I don't have time to cook. So I want you to just create your plan, but remain fluid, go with the flow, and kind of use this as a tool to help you get through the week, especially on those harder nights when you're busy or you don't feel like cooking. So the first thing I do is I add a pizza night. The next thing I do is I add a leftover night. Now this is really important. As I mentioned in my recent Frugal Living Tips video, I'll link that up above, you can check that out. We really try to waste as little food as possible around here. There's a term in the debt-free community called zero food waste, and I didn't know this term prior. I learned that term from a lot of people in the debt-free community, probably primarily Debt Kickin' Mom and Kim at Free to Family. If you don't follow them, you can check them out. I did pick up a couple of tips from them to really help cut down on waste around here. Not wasting food is something I always believed in ever since I was a kid. We were taught clean our plates, don't waste your food, and it's something that I feel strongly about, but I never knew there was a specific term for it. So there is. It's called zero food waste, and it's something that I strongly believe in because when you're wasting food, you're really wasting your money. So what I do to help combat that is I have a leftover night in every single meal plan. And to be honest, sometimes that leftover night turns into 2 leftover nights depending on how much food we made that week and how much we have left over. So now you can see I've added a pizza night and a leftover night, and I'm down to only needing meals for 5 nights. Now another thing that I often do, and if you get my free meal plans, you will see this as well, is I do a COTF night. Now that's another term I picked up from someone in the debt-free community on Instagram. I can't remember who I learned that from, but it stands for clean out the fridge night. And pretty much I throw this in as another meal each week, and it is a way for us to go through the fridge and use up anything that might be wasted. Often I notice things get wasted if there's a very small portion left over, that it's not enough to feed the whole family on leftover night. So we'll kind of gather up all those small little portions, even some cut up fruit or cheese if that's sitting in the fridge, and we'll basically get everything out and have almost a little mini smorgasbord where we're eating a little bit of everything. And it might be a weird meal, but sometimes the kids actually enjoy it, because if there's a meal they had that week that they didn't care for, they now only have to have a very small portion of it instead of having it as a whole other meal. So that's another way to just go through your fridge. I like to do it the night before we go grocery shopping because it also makes a lot of space for all the new food to come in the next day. If you add a clean out the fridge night to your weekly meal plan, now you're down to only 4 meals that you really have to plan that week. So hopefully you're starting to see already how much time you can save from meal planning. The next thing I do is I take a mental note if anybody in the family has requested a specific meal that they're hungry for, or something that maybe I know I haven't made in a long time. And I kind of match this up with my freezer inventory and see if there's anything that I want to make that we have in the freezer, then that's a real easy choice to make, so I'll fill that in next. Another thing I'll do if I know we have a busy week is I'll add a taco night or a brinner night, which is breakfast for dinner. So we'll have maybe eggs and waffles or eggs and pancakes. That's an easy crowd pleaser. It's not something you have to get creative with. We always have breakfast items on hand. So for our family personally, it's really easy to have a brinner night. It's also something that my husband is happy to cook. So same thing with tacos. This week it's on Monday, but I'll usually throw it on a Tuesday for Taco Tuesday. And it's something that's really simple. Plus you can make a lot of food easily. The next thing I'll do is I will grab my folders, and I just have these filled with a whole bunch of recipes that are tried and true, ones that I know my family actually likes. And I will go through, I'll check my freezer inventory. You can see this week I have sausage and chicken thighs and hot dogs in my freezer. So I'll look for a recipe that I can make for chicken and sausage, and maybe we would throw hamburgers and hot dogs on the grill. It's really just about taking some time and looking at what you have and trying to match it up with things that you can make without having to go out and purchase all new food for all new meals that week. I hope this is making sense to you. The next thing I do is I fill in the rest of my meals. So here for Tuesday, I have shepherd's pie, and I also have freezer stash marked on that. That means I'm going to batch cook. That's another term I learned from Kim at Free to Family. Again, this is something I have done in the past, but I didn't know it had a specific name. What I do when I make shepherd's pie, I make extra, and I will put a whole separate meal, wrap it up, and put it in our chest freezer. That also leads to growing a stash in your freezer. So if you have a week that maybe you're sick or you're not feeling well, or maybe you're out of town, it's easy for my husband to pull that out of the freezer, just heat it up, and now he has a fully home-cooked meal, and I wasn't here having to cook, and he didn't have to try to cook when he was home alone with the kids. So I try to do that a couple times a month to build up the freezer stash, and as you can tell, By my freezer inventory, it is super, super low right now. So that's something that I'm going to try and prioritize, making one freezer meal each week. So one recipe each week, I'm just going to double and toss it in the freezer and really try to build that up for the summer months. Here's a recipe called Mississippi Pot Roast. I believe this is one I also found from Debt Kickin' Mom. And I apologize if I'm saying the wrong names, but I'm trying to remember where I heard some of these things from. This is just pasta with garlic bread. Another easy tip is some people will do a pasta meal every Monday, tacos every Tuesday, a chicken meal every Wednesday, Brinner every Thursday, pizza every Friday. They kind of have like a theme that they'll stick to. I don't do that because I feel like my kids are such picky eaters that they get sick of things so often, and if there's something they don't like, it's hard for me to repeat that type of meal each week. So go ahead and fill in your meal ideas for every day. The next thing I do is I then walk around my kitchen and I look in my pantry and I see what I have and what I don't have. I then write with the meal each day the items that I need to pick up from the store for that specific meal each day. For example, I have tacos here on Monday, and I'm going to need lettuce, cheese, and taco seasoning to make tacos. I already have wraps here, I already have taco shells here, I already have the taco sauce we use, and I do have some tomatoes left over. So that's all I'm gonna need for that meal. Now I don't have anything written here for shepherd's pie yet, so I'm going to go ahead. I can tell from my freezer inventory that I do not have any hamburger on hand. So I'm going to mark hamburger here, and I don't have any veggies. So I'm going to get some frozen corn, and I know that I have all the ingredients I will need for mashed potatoes, so that's all I'm going to need for this specific meal. The next meal is Mississippi Pot Roast. I don't have banana peppers. That's an item for this meal. I also don't have the pot roast. Another ingredient I believe is like a ranch packet, which I do have in the pantry. So I'm going to grab banana peppers and a pot roast for that meal. Next is pasta with garlic bread. I have everything I'm going to need here, but I do need hamburger to make meatballs with the pasta. So I'll make some homemade meatballs, and what I will do is when I get the hamburger for tacos, sorry, I forgot hamburger for tacos. This is a very hamburger heavy week. It's not usually all one meat. But you can see here, I'm going to use hamburger for tacos, for shepherd's pie, and for the meatballs with pasta. Friday is pizza. I do need the pizza. Saturday, I'm going to make baked potato soup in the crock pot. And using your crock pot or your Instant Pot is another huge tip to cut down on time when meal planning. So I will get up Saturday morning. We have a busy day, but I will get all the ingredients prepped either Friday night or Saturday morning, toss them in the crock pot, and turn it on. That way we can do everything we need to do Saturday day, and I don't have to worry if we're home later because dinner will already be ready and waiting for us. The only thing I need for baked potato soup is cheddar cheese. Everything else I have here. So I'll mark the cheddar cheese, and then Sunday is our leftover day that we already talked about. So now you have all your meals. The next step is coming over and creating your shopping list. So what I do is I just copy all of these items from here over to the shopping list, and that might be an extra step that's not necessary. So if you don't feel like copying them over and you're going to bring your book with you to the grocery store, then you can just go ahead and cross off over here and use this as your list. For me, I find when I do that, I seem to miss items, so I take a minute, I copy them over. I'm going to take a minute and copy everything over. Okay, so now I have all the items I need here for my meal plan, and then I'm just going to go ahead and finish up anything else that we need for the week. Obviously, our normal staples that we purchase each week, snacks for kids, breakfast items. I don't meal plan breakfast and lunch. My kids take sandwiches to lunch every single week. I make freezer sandwiches and I wrap them and put them in the freezer. They just grab them and toss them in their lunchbox along with whatever else they want to take. And on the weekends, they either eat leftovers or usually just some mac and cheese or ramen noodles, which they absolutely love. So I will usually take a quick peek in my fridge as well, see what else we need, milk, eggs, all of that, etc. And then I will go ahead and add everything else we need to the shopping list. Okay, so you get the point. I'm not going to fill out the entire list. Now you have your list and you have your meals. The next step is just to go to the store. I don't cut coupons. I shop at Aldi most of the time or Walmart, and I get the best price possible. I will also look on Ibotta and see if there's anything on there at Walmart or Sam's Club that we need. I do not purchase things just because they're on Ibotta, but if there's something on there that I need to already purchase, then I will go ahead and make sure I scan my receipt for Ibotta as well. I have a code down below. You can get $10 when you use Ibotta. It's a great tool, but you just have to be careful so that you're not purchasing things that you don't need just because there's a cashback offer on it. I go to the store and I take my book with me and I just go through my list and make sure I cross everything off as I grab it. That way I know I have it. If something's not there, I either try to make a quick substitution or maybe I'll just have to switch a meal that week. It doesn't happen often and it's not a huge deal. Then I get home, put my groceries away, scan my receipts. I also use an app called Fetch. It doesn't pay near as much. It gives you points for any receipt that you scan, but it's any grocery receipt that you scan. So I try to remember to scan everything in there. I think I'm up to 10,000 points now and I can cash that in for a gift card. I will leave a link down below for Fetch as well. If you want to sign up, you can check that out. I think you get 3,000 points just for signing up, but it's an easy way to accrue points without any effort. You don't have to go through the app and look for specific items. If there's a match for something that has a bonus, it will pull it automatically, and it also sometimes pulls things from Aldi as well with the bonus. So I definitely take a second to scan all my receipts because it's really fast, and then I just go ahead, put everything away, and I'm good to go for the week. So that's my process, guys. I told you it was really easy. I think it's a great place for you to get started if you're a little confused or worried about meal planning. Another tip is if you cannot seem to find meals, if you don't already have a folder and you want to build your own folder up, Pinterest is a great place to check. I go on there and just search fast family dinners or easy chicken meals or easy pasta ideas, something like that. And you're gonna get so many options that pop up. You can go through and print off the ones you like. My folders are getting so full, I'm actually going to turn it into a binder soon. Or if you have good old-fashioned recipe books, they're a great place to just flip through, find some recipes you'll think you'll love. The next thing I want to talk about is monthly meal planning. And if you are overwhelmed with meal planning, go ahead and get started on weekly. And when you feel like you've mastered weekly meal planning, then you can make the leap to monthly meal planning. Now, all I do for monthly meal planning is print out a blank calendar online. You can just find them anywhere, or you can even go into like your Outlook or your iCloud and just print off a blank calendar. And I go through and I do everything pretty much the exact same way. So I will meal plan monthly, but we still are shopping weekly at this point. I used to shop monthly and I absolutely loved it. I have a blog post all about how to monthly meal plan and shop monthly. I'll link that down below and you can check that out. The reason I stopped shopping monthly is because my kids and my husband cannot get their lives together. If I buy it and it's in this house, they will eat it as fast as they possibly can. I literally will have to like hide chips and snacks so they don't eat it. And my husband's actually the worst culprit. So I noticed that I was shopping monthly, but things were going so quickly because they were eating it. So I had to cut back because I felt like we were starting to go over budget and I was starting to get frustrated with them and they were eating too many snacks. So we're back to meal planning monthly but shopping weekly. Once you have your blank calendar, I sit down and I do the same thing. I mark a leftover night each week, I mark a pizza night each week, and then I throw in our clean out the fridge night. So again, right off the bat, that takes out 3 meals every single week. And I just do the same process. I just fill out a meal for every night and I check my freezer inventory. But I go ahead and I find meals that I see I can already cook with what I have on hand. And I usually plan my meals around meat. Now, if you're obviously a vegetarian or a vegan, you're not going to do that. That's just what works for our family because we do eat meat, especially my husband. So we do plan our meals mostly around meat. If you're having a really hard time sticking to a grocery budget, planning a couple meatless meals each week will really help you cut back as well. So I go through and I just fill out a meal for every single square in the calendar, and then when I sit down to meal plan for the next week, I will just pull out my calendar that's already filled out for the whole month and I will see what I need for each meal. I'll look through my cabinets, look through my pantry, check out my freezer inventory, and same thing, I'll just make the list the same way each week. This is a super simple process. I hope this kind of broke things down, into more easily digestible chunks that sounded gross. If you were feeling overwhelmed about meal planning or feeling like it was something that you couldn't handle, my goal for this video was really just to show you the whole process in very easy steps. If I'm only meal planning for a week, this takes me literally maybe 10-15 minutes for the whole week. It's super simple. Another tip on having a book like this is I can very easily flip back through previous weeks, see what we had. That way, if I'm struggling for meal ideas, I can pull meals out of previous meal plans, or if I'm gonna make something, I can see we really just had that a week or two ago. So it's a great idea to use a book. If you don't wanna use a book, that's fine, but maybe toss your old meal plans in a folder, because I find it very helpful to have the past meal plans when you're sitting down to meal plan, especially if you're doing a month at a time. You can just pull out your old calendar and have a ton of ideas for your meal plan for the next month. If you guys have any questions at all, please feel free to leave them in the comments. I would be happy to answer them however I can. Please don't forget to go check out Camilo and Justin's video. I think you're gonna get a lot of value out of their video. Don't forget to subscribe to their channel and also find them on Instagram. They share a ton of great content over on their page, and I think you're gonna find their debt-free journey really inspirational. And again, if you're over here from the Budget Guys video, thanks so much for stopping by. I hope you'll subscribe and stick around a while, and I hope you all have a great day. Bye.